Morning, everybody. I hope you slept well. Me and my daughter, we are doing some quick cleaning up this morning because me and her are about to go to breakfast. Oh, I'll go that way. Yeah, me and her are about to go to breakfast. And I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit more than just what's going on right now. In general, we have, look at that, forward boss me. In general, we have conditioned ourselves to pretty much be lied to our entire lives. I'm using some tobacco vanilla beard balm from the Nashville Beard Company. We have conditioned ourselves to be lied to our entire lives, and what I mean by that is our establishment, our government has conditioned us to accept their lies. And how long has this been going on? Well, pretty much since we've had government. And I can point some key things out in general that's affected us in all facets of our life, not just government. I mean, just not what we see in front of our face or what's coming over the border with the illegal immigration. What's going on is it's a destabilization within. They want to create a new way for people to pay for things. They want to create a new way that people respond to authority. They want to have new authority. That's the problem, and that's what people are not wanting to see. This is controlled at a multi-level front. Let's go back to the industrialization of cooking food, how we use food, commercialization of it, and the need for more, faster. When the United States started pushing into Mexico and they needed their agriculture, they needed their farmers and stuff to produce, they were thriving. What ended up happening is they needed more. Well, they can't produce more and more. Thus, GMOs and different pesticides to yield better results with keeping bugs away so the crops can grow better and more, whatever it may be. DNA stuff that they've messed with in the food, and they wanted to force grow this stuff. Instead of it taking, 4 or 5 months for us to grow corn, they want it in 3. So we started taking a lot of business away from Mexico because they didn't have that technology to do that type of stuff. So we started finding how to do it here and elsewhere, which took a lot of money away from Mexico because we started buying product from outside of Mexico when it came to vegetables and fruits and stuff like that we were being provided from Mexico. And we allowed that to happen. It's the push for growth. About 10 years ago, 11 years ago, there was a professor that he did a study on, and he talked about the population. The population was only supposed to go so high and kind of taper out and slowly go up and down and up and down. But what ended up happening is illegal immigration came in, or immigration in general came in, and we started to destabilize the actual structure that we had here in the United States. Now you see more minorities, people from Latin America, Latino, the Latinos, Latinas coming in from different areas and stuff like that, starting to overgrow the black and white and Asian population here in the United States. Well, the numbers start to climb and skyrocket, and you can't keep up with things economically. What ended up happening is you have to try to force your way into different exploratory areas on how to get more food, how to get more jobs, how to get all this stuff. And thus corruption comes along with that too. Because people are getting paid, people are hiding stuff, people are hiding what's healthy for us and not healthy for us. And you can see the trend of the population and where it was supposed to stabilize versus where it went. And what it looks like at 2030, 2040, 2050. And what we were supposed to do was control the immigration to the point where we didn't have this mass influx of immigration going way up and then destabilizing the actual ethnicities and minorities and everything else that's right here, it would have been all kind of a gradual increase over the next 20 to 30 years. But with the immigration process that we have now, what's happening is immigrants are having 2 to 3 times, if not 5 times, the amount of children that we are having in black communities, white communities, Asian communities, and they are just pumping the kids out like crazy. So the more you bring immigrants to the United States, illegally or legally, what end up happening is they get that sense of freedom, that sense of security. They can provide for their families and stuff like that. They feel good about what they're doing. Now it's time, because in their culture, let's make a family. Let's have kids. They're not like white people or black people are, or yellow people, Asian people, whatever, where they're like, let's have a couple kids, like 1 or 2, and then we're done. You know, I know some families out there have a lot, but overall, the general consensus is maybe 1 or 2 kids and stop. Well, that's what the mindset was supposed to be years ago, but it didn't happen that way. Couple kids and then stop. You have families having 5, 6, 7, 8 kids now, and they're just rolling through it. They got kids all over the place, and a lot of them are not white and black people, Asian people. A lot of them are from other areas of the United States, not from here. So when you look at things overall and how the government has played a role in politics, or not politics, in medical, in dental, in our food plate. Since when does a doctor get to say, or since when does a pharmaceutical company get any input in what goes on the food plate in general and what's recommended per day? Since when did that happen? When money became a thing, when people were starting to get paid off. When did it become a thing? Whenever we were supposed to have highly processed foods with tons of grains and stuff like that, when studies show that the grains and stuff aren't necessarily that healthy for us. They're inflammatory, our bodies don't react to it very good. Yeah, it might help us poop more or something like that, but it's because a lot of it's stuff we can't digest. We're not actually getting nutrition from it. But we put that out there. Guess what? Government. Whenever you follow the trail back to every single facet on what's being recommended by the government, you can almost consider it a 100% blatant lie. Not even the truth. The food pyramid should actually be flipped upside down. Shouldn't be the other way around. But that's what they do. You know why? Because the government said so. They know better. You're supposed to listen. And that's not what it is at all. And then now we have this condition now where we're supposed to be okay with all the immigrants and stuff coming in. We're supposed to be okay with all this stuff happening because the government said so. We've literally conditioned ourselves and let ourselves get to the point where we're at because we never really questioned, we never pushed back, we never actually had a say-so in any of this anyway. That's why sometimes I question whether or not we should have the government that we have. Because they've literally controlled our entire lives. The stuff that we're programmed, the media that's put out. There's like 5 Jewish companies that own all the media. Jewish companies, Jewish families, and we're stuck believing the garbage that's put out. And then you have Democrats and Republicans arguing about what news station said this, what said that. Back in 1980, there used to be like 50 different or more agencies out there that would just it would strive to get you the truth. You don't have that anymore. It's all lies and bias and what can get us the most views, and because we've let this stuff happen. Our automotive industry, how the government's tied in with them and the EPA and the fuel regulations and stuff, and telling us what's best for us, and oh yeah, you can go 10,000 miles on oil and stuff like that, but yet when we see these vehicles at 130, 140, 150,000 miles, the rings are all coked up, they're burning oil, tons of blow-by. Even vehicles that continue to run for a long time, still no excuse for these things to happen. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, my Toyota, I got 350,000 miles on it, I got 500,000 miles on it, and I change the oil every 10,000 miles. Yeah. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because I jump off this bridge and I live and I make it with minimal injury, if any injury at all, doesn't mean I should do it. Doesn't mean it's a smart choice. But people do it anyway until they die or they lose their engine or whatever it may be. But the government and these 3-letter agencies are literally tied into every single facet of our life. And we let these big corporations like Procter & Gamble, Halliburton, these government agencies and stuff out there, and it's sad because we believe these politicians are the ones pulling the strings, but it's not. It's these Schwabs, these who the hell's the prick that these Soros of everything that dump and pump money into it, and just like the dude came when the Dylan Mulvaney thing happened, and Bud Light sent him the Bud Light can that had the trans Mulvaney picture on it, and then Mulvaney took that against Bud Light's wishes, put it on the internet for everybody to see, and people boycotted Bud Light. Well, one of the CEOs or one of the owners or something of one of the beer companies that own multiple beer companies, because they're all under the same umbrella, came forward and was like, yeah, I own the majority of stock in Bud Light, but I also own the majority of stock in Miller Lite, and this over here and this over here, and I'm this person in whatever his... And he said, all you did was take $4 million, $5 million away from me in Bud Light, or the company in Bud Light, $8 million, but you shifted it over to, or billion, I should say, whatever it was, million, billion, but you shifted it over to Miller Lite and these other stocks and stuff that I own, and I've gained 5 times, 6 times the amount of money there. So yeah, this company lost money, but we're able to keep this company afloat because all these other companies that are owned under the same umbrella, you guys made them rich. Boycotting Bud Light, you took and put money back in their pockets. He said, yeah, I lost, let's just say it was $8 billion. Yeah, I lost $8 billion here, but I made $110 billion here because of the protest. So yeah, fine, let's create this controversy every day because I'm making money off of it. The government literally does this in our lives. They create this controversy for us. They lie to us. They pay people off. These people that are influenced on the lobbyists and stuff like that, pay them off to get certain things done. And we're lied to every single day. And then we won't even get on the tax thing. We're taxed when we make money. We're taxed on the hour. We're taxed on the labor that we provide for a company. And then they turn around and tax us again when we buy products. And then they tax our land. They tax everything's taxed about us, which is the biggest scam in the entire world. It is ridiculous. But we've literally let our government do this to us. And most of these people are too blind to see exactly what's going on. And you know what a lot of this started with? Even before, like the 1900s? Churches have had a lot to do with influence. We can go back to in the 1800s with Robert Kellogg and adding all this grain into our cereal and stuff like that for our children, and the Seventh-day Adventists, and the Seventh-day Adventists trying to create some kind of food for people that they eventually sent somebody off. They eventually sent somebody off to a hospital or to school to be a doctor. He comes back and they start looking at all these food plants and stuff in the Seventh-day Adventist cult group. And they're like, oh yeah, we can create this with this grain and we can make this type of cereal and we can feed this to the patients when they're hungry and stuff. This will also, they noticed that in men, it would decrease their testosterone levels and their drive to mate with women. So it would cause a reduction in men wanting to do a natural thing, and they latched onto it. And all this processed grain and stuff started being put into food and cereals and stuff like that, and that's what they would use to give the patients. That's what they would use to feed men and stuff in their church. If you go back to Margaret Sanger and how she came about, and Robert Kellogg and the Seventh-day Adventists and Kellogg's cereal, and just keep going. Jump in the rabbit hole and just keep digging, and you're going to find some really, really disgusting stuff that nobody wants to talk about anymore. But it's there. And it's stuff that nobody pays attention to. Frankly, I don't want a government. I really don't want any government. But I know we have to have some in the minimal form. But I don't trust any of them. I really don't. But this is just a way to take your mind a different direction so you can kind of see some things from my perspective. Call me crazy, call me a liar, call me whatever you want. I don't know. I got to get these things out of my head. When you start digging into this stuff and you start looking at the research and you start looking at the PubMed studies about our medical industry and stuff like that and what they're recommending, people that have too much water on their body or something like that, or they're trying to reduce the amount sodium that they have, what's the first thing that they tell people? Oh, stop eating salt. Why? It's essential for the body. You have to have it. Potassium, magnesium, these are essential for the body. Salt is wonderful for the body. Before we had freezers and everything else, how we would cure meat with salt. It was not uncommon for somebody to have between 7 to 10,000, like, what do they call it, grams or milligrams or whatever salt's rated in per day. When you go back and you look at the studies and you see how people used to cure meat and stuff like that, and people were really healthy. You know what they didn't have a lot of is processed foods and sugars. Your body, I can completely fast for 3 days. Just say I go on a 72-hour fast and I get into ketosis really good and autophagy starts happening. I can shed all that water, the sugar and stuff off my body, and then I can go eat, let's just say I eat 6 ounces of meat, and then drink 2 glasses of water, 3 glasses of water with it. Within just a couple hours, I'm already urinating. My body doesn't retain all that because I don't have any sugar, no excessive glycogen or anything just floating around. But let's just say I fast for 3 days and I go back and I eat a small piece of cake and then I drink 3 glasses of water. Your body's job is to try to remove sugar from the bloodstream as fast as it possibly can because it's inflammatory. And the only thing in your body that actually needs sugar is your organs. Your organs need some sugar to function. Your brain can switch between ketones and sugar, but your organs need a little bit of sugar. But the process of stripping the glycol backbone of fat, gluconeogenesis, you can actually eat more fat and protein than sugar, and your body can actually take the backbone of the fat and strip it down to create sugar in a process that it does very naturally. But we don't tell people that. My body will absorb all that water, and you can go a few hours later, you're not going to the bathroom, 4 or 5 hours later, not going to the bathroom, and then get on the scale and you see, oh crap, man, I've gained 4 pounds. But when I did it the other way, when I ate that 6 ounces of steak and drank those 3 glasses of water, I urinated out right away. But what happens when you urinate it out right away? It takes all the salt and stuff with it because you're not retaining it, because you don't have sugar and stuff on the body in excess amount. So why are we telling people to reduce water weight, to reduce water on the body, and to reduce this and that get rid of salt? Salt is not going to cause you to retain water. Salt is not what's going to cause you to have a high sodium count because you're eating an excessive amount. I mean, just let's be real, a normal amount. What sugar is going to do is it's going to cause you to retain all that stuff and hold on to it longer. So when you cut the sugar out, your body, it doesn't have a problem holding on to it as much. But that's what we tell people. We tell people all these things about our food, our automobiles, our businesses. You know, we teach people this is normal, and it's not. Sorry for this morning's rant. I'm going to take my daughter to breakfast. Y'all be blessed. Have a great day. Call me a fool if you want, but I said what I said. Think about it, people. Do your research.
God bless you.
Have a great weekend, guys. The little ones, God bless you. And I'll see y'all later.